Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy 4th of July. How was that? I hope that got caught on tape. Fucking doing, people are it's broad daylight and people are fucking doing their fireworks anyway. And so speaking of fireworks, if you're ready to get your mind blown by intellectual philosophical fireworks, you've come to the right place. What is reality? So I don't think I have seen anyone frame it like that. I've been lately thinking of this thought experiment. It's a modern day version of Plato's cave allegory. Or, yeah, it's like, how can we be sure of anything? Let me entertain the thought experiment for you. So imagine a prison or a psychiatric ward in its well lit room. You can turn off the lights, and you have your refrigerator, and it automatically gets restocked with food. And this guy and this and imagine this person lives in the room, and he has been living in the room forever since he was born, and his only outside contact with reality, outside world, when reality basically is a computer. So a baby is born and he starts playing with it, with the computer, and they have done experiments in the slums, I think, in India, where they would put a computer outside and people would play with it, and very quickly would be adept at it, learn to manipulate it, and figure it out. So baby is born, he kind of plays with it, he grows and he learns languages, he learns all the languages, he watches YouTube videos, documentaries, Wikipedia, everything. Reads encyclopedia, Stanford encyclopedia, he reads mem, and he knows, or she probably, yeah, fucking feminists would argue, why it has to be a boy? Why can't you be little Sue? Okay, little Sue or little Mary or little John, whoever, or little Habib, or little Tchaikovsky or whatever. Use your, yeah. But that's not the point. The point being, he grows up in that environment, and that's his contact with the world in the internet, and he becomes extremely knowledgeable. He has, because that's what all he does, and he gains the encyclopedic knowledge. He sees the world outside. He sees ISIS, war, genocide. He reads history of everything, kind of like that prison experiment. Was it Chekhov, prisoner? The bet, the kind of, but the bet is different. Like, he had our contact with outside world, so he learns languages, he learns music, like not learn to play, but identify classical music, and he becomes extremely knowledgeable. Who is to say that all the things he sees in the documentaries and the internet and the video and the pages, that these exist outside in the real world? He has no contact with it. Now, obviously, it's ceteris paribus. It assumes that someone has been updating the server and the computer, and updating the pages, the websites, and that's so there is a real life correspondence. But what if I could make even if without going to Everest, I could make a video documentary like about Everest. Just get stock footages, get some old stock archive photos, videos, British Pate documentary by the rights, and I can give an illusion, patch it up, that yeah, this Everest, and without even being to Everest. How do we know that all these things he learned, all the cultures, languages, this African musical instruments, like whether it be or war in Syria, whatever, like Corona. How do we know that outside world it really is really happening? Someone could be just uploading shit, basically. And I'll try to cut that hominem this time. We have received several complaints, the DMs. Ladies want to see me shirtless. They say, hey, Zeeshan, cut down the aggressive, aggro, ego attitude. Just show us some skin. I'm like, all right. But instead, I'll amuse you, entertain you with my intellectual prowess without getting all rattled up and ranting and snapping. So how do we know that the real outside world exists? For all I know, anyone, whether it be demon or any virus or any non-human entity, or anyone could be uploading shit on the computer. Since he has no outside world reference, um he and whatever and he thinks outside world, he reads all these conspiracies, anti-conspiracies. So how do we know the real life, like all these things exist in the real life? See, all these people, who the conspiracy nut jobs who talk about moon landing is fake, or like earth is flat, they might be Zen masters finger pointing to the moon. Maybe these clowns actually have some point to make, indirectly or like inadvertently. How do we know? So he doesn't. The short answer is he doesn't. Unless he goes outside, the map is not the territory. You can argue, yeah, but who is uploading all these pages? But that's not the point. That's not the point. It's a thought experiment. Remember, I get to make shit up as I please. See, he doesn't. It's like a Truman Show. People might say, okay, think of the moon landing, for example. What if some people could be faking shit up, making some artificial land, like a fake suit studio, like a diorama or something, and upload it. And like, how do we know? Like, but that's the waste of time. It's like almost it's easier to go to the moon than fake all the moon landing shit. It's easier if you accept the fact that by Occam's razor or whatever, like if you go to the space, Earth is round, than some nut jobby conspiracy theory, right? But at the same time, imagine what if the point of this thought experiment is, what if that was a VR, we are in a VR suit, uh, along with the whole helmet and everything. It's like we're wearing this giant suit, the skin, bodysuit and skin, which is a VR skin, even with tactile, haptic gloves and everything. But unless we get out of that, we shed that VR suit and helmet, there is no, we can never know for sure what is outside that VR world. Our only reference is the world itself, and any scientific analysis we do, experiments we do, we're still doing it in a VR helmet and costume and a suit. That's the whole point I'm driving at. There is, how does he even know? So, and that's my criticism of the flat earthers. It's like, how do you even, they use science to criticize science. It's like you're using science. It's almost like if how do you know you yourself are not wearing a VR suit, and you're putting all this eyewash scientific, so-called scientific things, and you're making this claim that Earth is flat, but you're using it via science. And obviously I can criticize science too. Like, how do you know scientific, on any measurement we do, it's like it's not self-contained, it's not within, like under, we're doing it with wearing a VR helmet and a body armor. It's like, how do you know outside real world? We have no reference, and we can never know unless we die or we get out of the room. It's almost like a modern day version of Plato's allegory of the cave, or Truman Show, or like even Descartes, like how Descartes was doubting everything. How do so? That's my criticism, main criticism of science. But then you'll say, but you're assuming that, like, but that's the thing. How do we know? So the implications are as if, forget about VR helmet or the prison room experiment with internet. What if the real life almost? It's like we're in it. We're swimming in reality itself. If fish is not aware that a fish is not aware that it's swimming in water, or is it? It's like fish thinks. See, it's like fish. It's like a fish cannot drown. So similarly, we cannot make any claims about objective claims about our external reality. Then you say, but I can see it. Look at outside. There is a tree. If I punch you, you're gonna get hit. If I fall on the fire, I'm gonna get burned. If I fall on a knife, I'm gonna get slashed. Like I'm gonna get cut. But you're missing the point. So a lot of things are we can see outside, like a mirage. You go to desert, and you're chasing a mirage, and suddenly it's not there anymore. So you're in flesh, you're witnessing it. So how do you know the whole life is not like a mirage? How do you measure it? How do you experiment with it? So yeah, so the baby or the kid who was brought up in the prison or the mental psychiatric ward or any room, isolated room, he cannot make any objective claims or any make a grand statement or stand how life works in the outside world. It could very well be he's being deceived by a race or no race. Probably everyone died down, and there's a program, a virus glitch in the matrix, which is uploading all these servers, and that's another thing. But you can say, but even if you make all these documentaries, and you can make all these documentaries, but you need to have a reference. Like suppose you make a documentary which is in the YouTube and about Everest, and but still you need to have Everest outside to get a photo of it. But what if I can? But you can make it. What if I? But then I'll counter. Well, one can make an illusion like a barn door facade Gettier problem. It can be very very elaborate hoax, just like moon landing or moon landing. It's like it can be a hoax. Some people can make a hyper realistic painting of Everest, or like Isaac Asimov's moon, where it was bad, like the half of it was like sort of the scaffolding, as if it's fake, like a Hollywood set, like moon. As Isaac Asimov story where the guy rode past the moon and saw the half of it was like a sort of there was this construction going on. So you can say, yeah, it can. One can easily make, but then wouldn't it be easier if the, in order to make elaborate hoax, you still have to base it on reality. You're missing the point. Ceteris paribus, all remaining the same. It's like that's of course offshoot of another philosophical question. How do you like? Is it possible to come up with something without having it exist in the first place? I'll say, yeah, fine, yeah, sure, Lemuria or any fictional, like, what about movies, Hollywood movies? They don't exist in real life. Lord of the Rings or some nerdfest movies like those, they don't exist in real life. Or think of video games, Halo or a COD. They don't exist in real life. It's an elaborate illusion, simulation. So it's one way I'm asking is, are we in a simulation? And by simulation, it doesn't have to be a computer simulation. It can be a very elaborate reality. Could be a Maya, like a hoax, like a Necker cube. It changes as we perceive, and there is no objective way, verifiable way to like verify um, or do scientific analysis and experiments. How do you even know? How can we be certain about anything? Maybe we ourselves are in that prison room. We all the human mind is like imprisoned in sort of in this human body, in this brain, in this, and within the system. We were trying to analyze the system itself. The only way we can, it's like if you're in Abbott's flatland, if for a second, if you live on a 2D flat surface, you can talk about 3D, but unless you go to the 3D world, all this will be meaningless. If you try to, all this will be shadow of the third dimension on your 2 dimension. Excuse me. So how is it possible to make any claims whatsoever? It's almost, yeah, imagine this is a VR suit, and there's this leaf. We want to do analyze and dissect it, but we're still in a simulated artificial world, land, how environment. How do you even know for sure that that's not an illusion? All this, the tree in front of me, and it's about, you can cut down the tree, you can and then some, you'll see some, but that's also part of just like a video game. It's like it's programmed. How do we know that? We don't, and that's the truth, and that's what all this idiot materialists they don't wanna accept. They say, light bounces off the tree or the glass plant, goes to my retina, but how do you even know that in the first place, fuckhead? How do you know that light? There's an external object outside, and the light reflects off, then goes to our brain, and we interpret the signal as the tree. How do you know that? Because we ourselves are defining it like that, experiencing it like that. A fish in water will never know that it's in water, or like it's like you can't see the back of your head. A nail cannot scratch itself. Alan Watts would, said things like that. Eye cannot see itself. It's like, so there's always a blind spot. There's always a blind spot. Logical, philosophical, metaphysical, there's always some blind spot. Just like a car, you have a rear view mirror, there's things which are in the shade. There are some strips of objective reality out there, or reality out there, that we can never know for sure. It's impossible logically. Oh, as Chuang-Tzu said, last night I dreamed I was a butterfly dreaming Chuang-Tzu. How do I know I'm not Chuang-Tzu dreaming I'm a butterfly? Or some shit like that. And Raymond Smullyan extrapolated to AI. Last night I dreamt I was an AI dreaming I'm Raymond Smullyan. How do I know I'm not Raymond Smullyan dreaming an AI? Or vice versa, chiasmus. And that's the truth. That's we can't. So that's what happens when people get enlightened or awaken or get a glimpse. What happens when you step out of the system? Some people do it with psychedelics, but you don't need psychedelics to do it. It's just think about it. It's like it's a self-referential system we are in. Almost a Klein bottle reality. It's like it is feeding itself. Only way we can see the whole of Klein bottle is step out of it and see it on a outside from an outside thing. But we can't never ever step outside of reality unless we do 5-MeO, and I guess which some people do. But you don't need to do all these things, I guess. You can. A lot of philosophers existed. Plato didn't do 5-MeO. When he talked about his Plato's allegory. I don't think even 5-MeO is even the answer. It's like, I don't think, because many things doesn't dovetail. People go fucking crazy and schizo, and because they're not grounded, and because they're not doing all the hard work, shadow work, and the work on this earth. It's like, I think the only way you can find really is if you have, I guess, NDE or like real enlightenment, or after death. There's a reason why we're here. We're not supposed to know what's happening, and that's the whole point of it. It's like Alan Watts would say, psychedelics let the cat out of the bag. Or not even, I think psychedelics, that's what he talked about. So we can never know for sure. The giant dinosaur Ankylosaurus, which is trying to analyze itself. It's almost, reality is like a giant thing. It's like we're in it. We cannot analyze ourselves. By definition, by ipso facto, by virtue of it, it's like Ankylosaurus is trying to bite its own tail. Or like a snake, Ouroboros. And it's so simple. It's so simple, but people make all this elaborate illusion, like go outside, go and read, go to the library and read, go to the university, as if they have all the answers. All you need is a childlike curiosity and consciousness to crack open this dilemma, this sort of puzzle, this conundrum. So, just like that, we can never know anything for sure. We can never make any claims. Smoking is bad or good. We can any constant or mathematical constant, second law of thermodynamics, and I can talk about what is Li. Li is an order, Chinese concept of order. So when you say, oh, the tree died, but yeah, tree also died in it's a creation and destruction at the same time. It became fertilizer in its growth. So it's not second law of thermodynamics. Oh, everything is entropy, but it's arising new, is giving rise to new life. You idiot. It's funny, there's a butterfly hovering around me. And that's the thing. It's just almost any theories, these are based on faith. It's almost we need to have a faith, like we have to believe it by faith. It doesn't matter if it's model theory with Lowenheim-Skolem theorem, or like Skolem normal form, and we can be as elaborate we want and give you this illusion, the Trump Loe, this veneer, this sort of this patch it up and just sort of give you the some at the last minute, like patch it up and give this illusion like a mirage. This is how what it is, because look at this, go to the libraries, there are millions and millions of books with all this logical, analysis, statements, which this proves jack shit, dude, because they're already in the system. We're already in the system. There will always be limitation. And obviously, since some fields like charge Turing thesis or Turing undecidability or like Gödel incompleteness theorem, yeah, they're very restricted in their own domain. But you can always, you don't need to be a fucking genius to like extrapolate it. Yeah, even in life, there are a lot of things we can never know because we're already in it. How do you even know we're in it? Exactly. But you're saying we're in it. Just because outside world, like there's something outside in the external, doesn't mean jack shit. I talked about mirage, like it could be any sort of, someone can paint a door or against the wall and like a artificial, and there are, if you read Ripley's Believe It or Not, in many towns where they paint this tunnel on a mountain as if you can go through, but it's an illusion, trompe l'oeil. Or like a building like against a wall, it's a town and you think it's a town. It's like barn door facade of Gettier problem. The consciousness cannot, it's Godhead is cannot, and probably that's why God is experiences this universe, and by limiting himself through the eyes of a human, because that's the only way Godhead can experience godness. You cannot use the same consciousness, you cannot analyze your own consciousness, and that's the whole egoic paradox. People say surrender, drop the ego, because you cannot use your ego to hammer itself. Cannot hammer itself. So the person will never know for sure. You can live in this simulated, in this sort of, that thing could be easily be floating in space. That room, the cubic chamber, hyperchamber, could be easily floating in the space, and he thinks that there's external world out there. But all this could be bullshit, fiction. And he says, but who put all those things? Ain't that the rub? When some people say maybe like Earth was created 4,000 years ago, some people who justify that way because Bible says so in 4,000 BC or something like that, like, and God has planted all these skeletal remains of dinosaurs and Kilosaurus, Stegosaurus to give the illusion. Maybe that's even finger pointing to the moon. Maybe they even have their point. Who knows? God is not deceiving us. Who knows that God is not deceiving by planting all these books, all the life experiences, the Big Bang, Neil deGrasse Tyson, or whatever dominant theories you have, whatever non-dominant theories you have. It's almost like we're in a sad or in an artificial world where you can know nothing for sure. You have to believe it. It's like, how do you know Christopher Columbus existed? Because all you read in a children's book in a library and you took it for word of God. Jesus, Plato, all this. Have you ever met them? No. You're trusting people's resources and people's words for it. Basically, authority will be school, teacher, history. How do you know anything? How can you trust anything? See, these are the ultimate form of hardcore skepticism I'm talking about. And all people, all the skeptic.com and all the other fucking skeptics, idiot skeptics, they're not skeptical of their own skepticism. They don't go that extra step because they're afraid. It's like they're things like, oh, well, life will be meaningless. What I'm gonna do? What's gonna happen to my 10-year? What I'm gonna do? That means life is meaningless. Anything can happen. Anything can justify. Yeah, duh. Anyone can pretty much justify anything. Duh. What are you so afraid of? The whole world will principle of explosion, absurdism, everything will lead to. That's exactly what's happening. Everything is absurd. You have this pristine, pretty little model of how reality should be, how it's behaving, and you make all your little neat mathematical theorems, arrangements with patterns and everything. But all this are bullshit, jack shit. You're fucking pipe dream. It's like you're fucking. Another thing I forgot to mention in my proof that sunset is beautiful in provability critique. A proof can you can also, who's to say you can prove in Chinese or some other language? Why do you assume it has to have certain proof in English and it has to follow some pattern? It has to follow some IQ like pattern. They talk about beauty. It's like this pattern, you know. One apple, two apple, three apple. You can see a linear progression, how it's like a triangle, how it's not serpentine triangle, how a triangle is expanding, and you add one and you can make your Blaise Pascal's triangle and all the. But it's hard. I don't know how best to convey. Like, these are all people get the illusion, and they're getting deceived, and maybe, who knows, that's the whole point of God's cosmic joke. It's like he's deceiving himself. He's deceiving that we're poor little me. Life is happening to us. We're a puppet, as Alan wants to say, the throes of the nature and everything. The real you and real me, we're not a puppet that life pushes around. But materialists, they have this incel, fucking geeky, pussy mindset. Oh, look at this, look at it. We have to conform. And all these people, they have a conformist mindset. You need to start in balls and guts to question reality and question philosophy and question everything. But they lack that because they're fucking nerds and geeks, Star Wars fans. Fucking. You say, Zeeshan, I thought you were not going to do ad hominem and critique. But they deserve it. Fucking, they deserve it. You pretend to be so intelligent and like so intellectual superior, but you're a dumb fuck idiot who don't get the basic concepts. You're so opinionated and dogmatic, you don't even realize science is so dogmatic. Mathematicians, logicians, they're not philosophers, because philosopher doesn't have to abide by any rules. Again, unless you're doing it as if you can do philosophy in academia and university, as if they're doing philosophy. They're not doing jack shit. They're appeasing their professor and who are appeasing their dean, and it's just a fucking circle jerk. Never ending. They're not out there philosophizing. Anyone can philosophize. Go to fucking Senegal or Calcutta or Bangladesh, Dhaka, and ask some random rando, and that's if he says something, that's even his philosophy. Who's to say that guy is less right than any other guy? And I talked about Clay Mathematics Institute, like Riemann hypothesis, or like this millennium problem. And like, yeah, like, imagine if it was for gravity, like someone who you said, like, find out everything about gravity, everything, and it's, oh, we can only publish it after it has to be published in a reputable journal before 2 years. As if the truth needs some constraint, the consensus that you can only do it for 2 years, and if no one challenges you, then it's set in stone. How dogmatic, traditionalist, conventionalist, idiotic, fucking, oh my god, this is the demise of science, logic, and reason, actually. These people, I don't care whoever the fuck you are, I don't care how skeptic, how irrationally intelligent, how IQ 400, 5,000, I don't care if you have data like from Star Trek, I think, yeah? You're like 4,000 IQ, I don't give a fuck. You don't need papers, and this another thing. Oh, even I don't understand this. I don't understand Brouwer's choice sequence. Even I don't understand axiom of symmetry, Freiling's axiom, like, as if you don't understand, some other people cannot understand. You fucking conceited bastard. I'm getting carried away, like I'm snapping. It's like, oh, you need to go to university and study years and years. Why? Why do you need to study for 20 years? If you need to study something for 20 years, maybe that's not the answer. Four-color theorem. If you need 8,000 pages to fucking make a proof, maybe that's not a proof. If you need 4,000 mathematicians to analyze something, to say, yeah, this like correct, this is valid, well, maybe that's not valid. And if it's a proof, if it's real proof, anyone can understand it. A child can understand it. But that's not how it works. It's all pedantic. It's like convoluted. What you're basically doing, instead of eating the food directly, you're making this circular motion around your head, and then you eat the food, and you say, that is Occam's razor. So you do the convoluted thing, and you define the convoluted thing as the Occam's razor. Occam's razor should be, yeah, proof right there. Boom, I showed you. That's the proof right there. All comes. I'm getting excited here. No, why? Yeah. How do you know what's inside an apple? Boom, cut it open. That's your proof right there. You don't need to like make all these theses, abstract theses, without even cutting the apple. Similar with mathematics, it should be by itself. Like it should like the proof itself should stand on its head. So same with reality, the nature of reality. You cannot prove how reality works. Any concept of proof, you have a concept of proof beforehand. Who's to say that the proof should fall? And if that's the case, then you already have a concept of what a proof should be. So why do you even need a proof? Why do you even need a proof then? If you know how it's like you're like a bitch, dude. You're like a bitch who wants to go to the date, who doesn't want to go to. You're like a bitch. It's like, no. If he asked me nicely, I would have gone. So what's your definition of ask nicely? It's like, I don't know. That's probably a stretch, but it's like you have a conception of how and what it should be, and then you do it backwards. And if you're fitting it's like you're making a tail wag the dog. That's how logic and mathematics, philosophy is like. You're trying to you create this artificial system, and you're trying to make that brute force and make it fit so that it conforms to how numbers behave. It's almost I create this elaborate theory and conform. Okay, now that's how the chess notations work. But these are all arbitrary. There are so many variations of chess games. They're 360 chess. They're horde chess, and these are man-made. I don't have to play by the rules of the chess. I can create my own chess version of chess. This fairy chess, so many. But people assumes it's like just like chess. Logic is like it's set in stone. That's how the universe behaves. So okay, you have two choices. Either universe behaves according to logic or it doesn't. So if it doesn't, then boom, we end right there. So that means that the universe is not logical. Logic is even not logical because if you think everything is logical. So another thing is everything is logical. But how do you even know that everything is logical? So it's like proof of contradiction. Either way, logic is not logical. There, I proved it for you, you dumb fuck. So what to do, Zeeshan? Just chill, bro. Hit that blunt, relax, fucking enjoy the sunset, look at the birds, chirping, appreciate the greenery. Fucking chill, because that's why I got disillusioned. Not disillusioned, it's almost like I got that. That all these are bullshit. All the things that all these books or tomes filled in the library of analyzing Banach spaces, Sobolev spaces, and they're making abstracting, and pretty. They go to dizzying heights of color in not color manifold. I'm talking about Mahler cardinal inconsistency. These are like, and they think that they're in a wild goose chase and they're deluding themselves. Shit, I'm sweating because I got excited. I got so worked up. And if they don't like what you have to say, which is basically it's on a cup of tea, your reasoning, and they discard you, make you like I love Gregory Chetan, but I don't think people realize how revolutionary some of his ideas are, like unifying it. It's like he doesn't even get enough credit, and there are so many mathematicians out there, so many logicians, philosophers out there. They get discarded or like pariah or like. That's why fuck schools, fuck colleges. Don't go there in the first place because it's like they're like a catter, they're like a mafia. It's like you can choose any color as long as it's black. It's like you can do any philosophy as long as it fits our. Fuck you. Why should it fit your preconceived notion of how it should be? Same with reality. I know I keep coming back. I know I'm talking about proof theory, but same with the reality. It's like, how do you prove something out there? Oh, you open your eyes, look outside. Duh. But you don't do that for any other stuff. You don't say. Another thing. When we say what would happen, and these idiot professors, they say they rush you. They're like, if you divide something by 2, what do you get? What do you get? And if you stutter and stammer, if you think that Einstein used to spend so much time thinking about it, they thought he was dumb, but he wasn't stupid. It's like, yeah, Just because if you can divide by something by 2 doesn't mean it's half. And if you don't say, and your professor will rush you, hurry you, so that he can go to the next progression, the next problem, next. But the thing is, you idiot, it's like, why do you think it's gonna be 2? Because by definition, if you divide something by 2, it's gonna be half. The definition of half is if you divide something by 2. It's not a profound thing. You cannot build a fucking foundation on that foundation. It's fucking man-made. It's shit out of your ass. It's tautological. Entire logic, philosophy, mathematics is tautological. That's why Zen is superior in my opinion. Or Taoism or Eastern philosophy. It's like they don't even bother to play that game. It's like some people say, oh, this is how chess must be played. So fuck you, I'm gonna make up my own game. Fuck chess, I'm gonna play cricket. Who is to say chess is better than cricket or cricket is better than chess? It's all arbitrary. Everything's arbitrary. Everything's random. Calm down, Zeeshan, calm down. Take your meds, take your blood pressure meds. Yeah, I need to. What's my pressure right now? Fuck. Alright, folks. That's it. Peace. Stay safe. Happy 4th of July. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy everything. Enjoy life. Peace.